call me Mama Nompilo. Nompilo means health.
My name's Roseanne Turner. I am a nurse by training and also a nurse educator.
Hi everyone, my name is Yandi Somazwana. I stay here in Maspumelele.
My name is Astrid Gilwald, and 4 years ago I did a function on human trafficking, and at this function I met a lady called Marilyn who had escaped being a victim of human trafficking 8 months prior. She had been trafficked for 10 years and she had a vision, and her vision was to create Vineka, a place of safety, a place of healing.
The global community must recognize the war on women in South Africa. COVID-19 has, in this respect, been an opportunity for South African women's struggle to be emphasized.
The place you are staying, it's so cruel. Even in me, in my house, my grandchild has been raped in my community. They know her. It's been growing there, growing before them. They know her, but they raped her. Here in Ganini, here in informal settlement, we look for the child for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. The child was playing outside, but one day we saw a black bag there. They chopped the child and put it in the black bag. In my community, the husband hit his wife. He go to the police station. They take her today, tomorrow is here. I've got a granny who usually come here. This granny, her neighbor come to me, said to me, Mama, this granny is been raped. Her son-in-law is raping her every day because her daughter is drinking.
Living in gang areas, gangs own areas of the community own. So even though I might live in this area, I'm not a gangster, but my court or my block of flats or whatever is kind of owned and protected by gangs. So I can't physically go across the road to meet somebody else who's in another gang's territory. One of the girls told us once that she was being sexually abused, so we were able to get her a place, but she refused to go because the man who was abusing her was the only breadwinner in the house. So, you know, it's hard because taking out all the judgments, you know, you throw out the breadwinner and the whole family starves. So does one person, this young girl, take it for the whole family?
I couldn't believe, like a lady, I think between the age of 60 and 65, staying in a very small shack with a falling door. In order to open, you must take the door and move it to the other side. It's not attached nicely, and the house is something else. I couldn't know how could we women let ourselves or let other women neighbors suffer the way that I have saw.
The reality is a lot of these women, by the time they're trafficked, some of them are as young as 10, 11. We've worked with children. Some of them are married. There's more than one case where they were married, They came to Joburg because they thought they had a job. We're talking about a woman with a degree. Thought she had a job, arrived at Park Station, literally was grabbed at Park Station. At that point, all her identity documents, everything like that, were taken from her. She was put in a house with other women and pretty much raped on the first night. And this was the beginning of 10 years. She was a mother. She was a wife. She was just looking to provide for her family. When these women arrive, some of them they physically need operations. They have been so damaged. But then almost every one of them comes and presents with AIDS, so we get them onto ARVs. They will have STDs. Some of these STDs will require medication for the rest of their life in order to live healthy, functioning, fulfilling lives.
COVID-19 has deepened the pre-existing systemic gender injustice in South Africa, exposing and highlighting the violent way in which women are being abused.
COVID meant that we haven't been able to meet as a group. So it's been quite challenging to hold the group without the physical meeting. I've also been able to advocate for them to get food parcels and donations, which I've dropped off regularly, but in smaller subgroups, because I haven't wanted to get them all together in a group. So wherever they live, we've met in groups of 3 or 4 girls, and I've been able to take them things, high protein things, and they need toiletries. The one girl said to me, she hadn't brushed her teeth. Imagine a teenager hasn't brushed her teeth for 6 weeks. She's had to use bicarb and salt. Some of the girls have been, 2 of them were affected by domestic violence. One fell pregnant and then had an abortion. Girl attempted suicide and was in hospital. And that was also where I was able to support her through that process and connect her with a social worker. So we know that in this pandemic, the people that have lost their jobs most are the low-paid women, not the men. It's mostly the low-paid women, domestic workers, the unskilled labor, the cheap labor, which is women. Women still earn far less than men. They are the people that have lost their income. And it makes them vulnerable to so much. We've had 2 that have been evicted from their homes. I managed to get another group to provide food parcels, and then on receipt of food parcels, the family let her stay on in the home. So it's hard to understand how young girls can be thrown out because they're no longer a resource. They become transactional objects rather than human beings.
In 2020, COVID happened. So when we go to the park is full of children playing. So like early in the morning, 9 o'clock, children are there because they're not going to school. And then the whole day they will be there. They will be starving. They will be crying and bothering each other because their stomachs are empty. So. And the same day I went to Pick n Pay. I think that's what picked my stress high. I went to Pick n Pay and there was no soap, there was nothing, there was no sanitizer. So with her pressure or without thinking, I went on Facebook and I'm like, guys, I really hope COVID can just vanish as soon as possible because it seems as if it's coming to identify how much are we poor if we cannot even find a bar soap in Pick n Pay in just a week of saying that, okay, if you have got soap and sanitizer, you'll be fine. So what about those communities who are waiting to get paid at the end of the month, or who have got a little bar but waiting for the grant on the 3rd of the month to buy another soap? So that struck people, that sparked something to people. And then I said, Yandik, how can we help? I said, I want to feed them. I want to give them a bar soap each and every second week. I want them to have masks, and people have supported the way you couldn't believe.
COVID has been exceptionally challenging. We had 12 women, all on ARVs, and one was fighting breast cancer. Some of the women who couldn't come into the centre anymore, what it meant was they were literally now captive at the hands of their abusers in some cases. They had no escape. They had nowhere to go and say, I need to get out, I need help. So it was very, very challenging, and it continues to be challenging. The women that have to actually go home every day to often their pimps, their abusers, their partners, for them COVID has been impossible. And people just don't seem to understand. They are not there by choice. Those women are, by the time they've been in that system, even for 2 years, they are mentally so broken, so destroyed, and we all think it's so easy. Well, just pack up and go. It's not that easy. They've got children, often with their abusers. The fathers will be, the fathers of their children will be the abusers. So it's not as easy as just saying, well, pack up and go. This is South Africa. Where do they go?
Women that have taken part in this research exemplify indomitability in the face of adversity. Nearly 100% of respondents providing solutions to the challenges presented by COVID-19 and lockdowns in both rural and urban areas are women. The international community must recognize the crises faced by women in South Africa as a war, requiring humanitarian attention, funds, and resources, which must be directed to support those women working at the front line and grassroots level on their own terms in the fight against gender injustice.
Funders don't like to, it's a crazy situation. They want the money to be well, and I understand that, well accounted for. But that takes an incredible amount of time and expertise to be filling out funding reports, to register as a public benefit organisation with the South African Revenue Service.
Because we're only helping 12 people at a time, there's a complete lack of interest to help. They seem more focused on projects that are assisting groups of 400 up at a time. So that has been the challenge all along. There is no local funding for us.
One of the challenges with funding is that many funders want to give beneficiaries material goods, to give people food parcels. Many people need food parcels, but certainly within the mental health sphere, and not saying that they don't need food parcels, more than that, they need a sense of self-worth. So we've tried very hard not to rescue them. My job is not to rescue them and hand out nappies and to give them money, and so that I'm trying to show that they are intact and they have the resources themselves. It's just for them to access those inner resources. Their life is their life. They can't be carried for. That is their life. It's different from my life. But they're much more expert in negotiating their life than I would ever be.
We tried at local level, we tried at international level, there just isn't anything. And again, it comes back, well, it's just 12 of you. So really, what difference does it make? And, I love the one thing that the founder said to me. She said, yes, but when they've finished here, there'll be 12 real agents of change out there, because we're working with the whole person.
Women, when they are in, women are abused, women are killed. There are so much things happening, but when I ask for the shelter or the space, I'll be happy if you can help us.
Maybe we need to be to be asking the women themselves, what do you need from us in this space? How can we keep you safe?
We women can be together to make, to change this world.
In 5 years' time, I hope someone will come and say, Yandi, we are here to build your youth center. The land is here, we just need a proper, nice infrastructure, if I can put it that way. So that will make me very happy.
The other thing that I've learned since I've been involved with Funeka is that there is no one way to do things. And so what we often find is when we approach, whether it is local government, national government, international organisations and or donors, that they seem to think, well, there's a one-size-fits-all approach. And this just doesn't apply because we are dealing with human beings. We don't come in one size. So it really isn't a one-size-fits-all, and I think the time and cost implications of these interventions that we need are not necessarily valued or measured, and measured in terms of time, money, expertise. So I think if more people would just understand that there is no one size fits all, and not to discount an organisation because they might not be doing what best practice dictates.